Let's talk about using sentences. So when we're using sentences, there are kind of four main kind of sentences. The first one is a declarative sentences, which is basically a statement and it always ends with a period. Then there's interrogative sentences, which is a question and it always ends with a question mark. Then there is an imperative sentences, which is a command and it make a request or tell someone to do something, and it usually ends with a period. But if the command is kind of like a strong feeling, then it ends with an exclamation points. So we have to be careful reading this because we wouldn't want to mistake it for declarative sentences. Okay, then there is an exclamatory sentences, which is like a statement, but it shows surprise or strong feeling. So an exclamatory sentences always end with an exclamation points. Okay, in all these sentences, the first one we just have to look at like if it have a period, then interrogative sentences. We see if it have a question mark. Imperative, well, imperative is kind of hard, but we have to read like the whole thing, not only look for it punctuation. We have to look at the whole sentences to see if it is commanding something. Like for this assignment, we have to do something. Don't drive like this, or don't eat this. It's kind of like a command, because it's a command. Then there's exclamatory sentences. It's the same. Just look for the punctuation. If it's an exclamatory, it have an exclamation point, then it is. But you don't want to mistake exclamatory sentences with imperative sentences, because sometimes imperative sentences can also end with an exclamation point. So we have to be careful with that. Okay, let's practice. Who started the rumor about the cafeteria serving cotton candy and ice cream for lunch? Okay, we say there is a question mark, so it's definitely, okay, wait a minute. Interrogative. Okay, I understand now. So it's an interrogative sentences. Which of these professions do you think require more formal education? Being a lawyer or being a college professor? Okay, there's a question mark. So again, it is an interrogative. Okay. What type of training experience do you need to become a referee? Okay, it's again, it have an question mark. So again, it is an interrogative. Okay. Okay. Let's look at the punctuation. Okay, the punctuation is comma. Period. So it might be declarative or impression, but in here there isn't. So it's a statement. So it's a declarative. Okay. Do you know if it's okay? Another question mark. So interrogative again. You're an absolute genius for figuring out how to stop the leak. Okay, to stop the leak, we have an exclamation point here. So it might be exclamatory, but let's see. Okay, it doesn't give a command, so it's definitely an exclamatory sentences. Okay, a question mark. Question mark, so it's definitely interrogative. Okay. Oh, now imperative are starting to be here. Okay, it's ending in a comma, so it might be declarative. But we have to see if it's command. If it is a command, then it might be an imperative. It definitely are not interrogative because it do not have a question mark. So will be our choice might be this or this. But I'm thinking more of this because see here we have please, and we only say please when we have it is saying that please put the chicken, fish, and vegetable on the large white platter. Okay, definitely here it is a command, so it's imperative, not declarative. Please give me the contact information to the physicians you recommend. Okay, the correct information for the physician you can recommend. Okay, it's ended a period, so it also might be an imperative or declarative. But in here, of course, there isn't a question mark or exclamation point, so it's definitely not two of these choices. But it's definitely imperative because it would be between imperative or declarative. But there isn't any declarative in here, so it's definitely an imperative. And anyway, this sentences also give us a command. It said to give us please give me the contact information. It is commanding them to give us the contact information. So I'm definitely imperative. Okay, let's see. The punctuation is a comma. A period. So it definitely will be an imperative or declarative. Definitely not interrogative because there's a question mark. Let's see if it's give us a command. In 2013, a former vice president, A.I. Gore, decided to give us eating all animal products, including meat, dairy, and eggs. Okay, since this does not give us a command, so it is not an imperative, but it is a declarative because it is a statement. And it ended in a period. How many? Okay, when we first read the first two letter, we can definitely see that it is asking us how many, and it ended with a question mark, so it's an interrogative. Okay, it's ended in a period, so imperative or declarative. It does not end with an exclamation point, so exclamatory, go away. Okay, two choices. Let's read here whether it is a command or statement. Tell us soon as the contest result are posted. Tell us soon as the contest result are posted. Okay, it is commanding us to tell them. So the sentences are commanding us to tell them soon. So it's kind of like to command. So it's a command. It's not a statement. So imperative it is. Okay, I feel like a completely new person now that my fever has broken. Okay, it ended with an exclamation point, so it is an exclamatory. And it also suggests like a strong feeling, a happy feeling, because this person is feeling better, feeling happy, feeling fresh. Okay, it ended with a period, so declarative imperative. It said don't overlook Clara when choosing a new principal. Okay, don't overlook. So it is commanding us to not overlook Clara. So it is imperative. By the way, it doesn't tell us any kind of information, so it's not a statement. Oh no! I didn't even get to say anything. Accidentally hit that. Okay, it ends with an exclamation point. So it might be an exclamation So it might be an exclamatory or imperative, but let's see if it is commanding. Jack has never tried chocolate ice cream before, which I found astounding. Okay, this is an exclamatory sentences because it is like suggesting, it is telling us the feeling, a strong feeling that it like a surprising tones, a astounding tone, but it is not commanding us anything. So exclamatory. I couldn't believe how talented those trapeze artists were. Okay, it ended with an exclamation point, so it might be exclamatory sentences or an imperative. But in the sentences, it is not commanding anything, so it is definitely an exclamatory sentences. And by the way, it is like telling a feeling. Okay, what a magnificent concert that was last night. Okay, and an exclamation point. Definitely an exclamatory. And by the way, this sentences is suggesting like a like feeling, and it is not telling us a commanding. So exclamatory sentences it is. Next up, turn off the water before it overflow. Okay, and then with exclamation point. So it would be an exclamatory sentences or an imperative. However, but in the sentences, it is telling us to turn off the water. So it is a commanding sentences, and when it is a commanding sentences, it is an imperative sentences. Okay, and with a question mark, we don't need to read the question. We just see an exclamation point and the first word, which is why. And we can definitely see that it is an interrogative sentences. A question mark. And first word is how. Definitely an interrogative. Okay, and with a period. So it is a declarative or imperative. Let's read the sentences. Mrs. Arnold instructed us to move the decimal point one place to the left. Okay, this is kind of a tricky sentences because you see here, it is saying that Mrs. Arnold instructed us. So it's kind of like a commanding, but it is not telling us, it is not commanding us. But it is telling a story, telling that Mrs. Arnold instructed us to do something. So it is a declarative because it's a statement telling something, not a commanding to us. Now entering the challenge zone. The night before a big soccer game, our coach would always tell us to eat a hearty dinner and go to bed early. Okay, it ends with a period. And by the way, this sentence is telling that the coach are telling us to eat a hearty dinner and go to bed early. But it is not a commanding sentences. It is not a command to us. It is like a story. Sentences that are telling something. So it is a declarative. Don't get tricked by the sentences. Okay, end in a period. So it might be a declarative or an imperative. Barbara wondered how long it would take to travel from Madrid to Paris by train. Okay, this is a statement because it is telling Barbara is wondering something. It is not telling us a command. And by the way, if Barbara is telling a command, then it would be kind of like telling a story, not like giving us a command to us. So definitely it is still declarative. Okay, moss often hangs from the branches of bald cypress, a tree that grows in swamps in the south. Okay, and with period, and it is a statement, so declarative. Last two questions. I can't believe this is the Nicole's first time seeing the Pacific Oceans. Okay, it ends with an exclamation point, so it is exclamatory sentences or imperative. But in this sentences, it is telling a feeling that is surprise, a surprise tone, a feeling that is surprised that the person here can't believe that Nicole first time seeing the Pacific Oceans. So it is exclamatory sentences because it is telling a feeling, not a command. Okay, Gary felt excited for Ali Jia when he learned that her poem had won a prize. Okay, and with an a period, so it might be declarative or an imperative. But in this sentences, it is not telling us any command, so it is a declarative. And we're done with our exercises. I think that we should have done it all correctly, but since I accidentally hit my hand on one of the answer, so it's correct and it is wrong.